Now we're going to bleed the Hayes hydraulic brake, and first we're going to do an El Camino. First of all, you need to have the proper fluid, Hayes dot number 4 brake fluid. You can also use standard automotive dot 3 and dot 4 fluid in a Hayes brake. You also need a bleed kit, but these two fittings here are meant for two different types of Hayes brake. For the El Camino, that's this one that actually has a threaded tip and it threads into the bleed fitting. Since you're working with automotive brake fluid, you want to wear the safety glasses, and it's also a good idea to wear gloves. This is the only amount of tubing that you really need for squirting the fluid into the caliper. You need a way to catch the fluid, so I just use something like this, a yogurt container. All you need to do is take that out, and we take this screw out of the bleed hole, and then we screw the bleed hose into the same place. And I pour some fluid into the squeeze bottle. First you want to take the brake pads out, because one thing you don't want to do is get brake fluid on the brake pads. There's a little cover over the bleed fitting, and there's no need to have that on there for now. So now we put the squeeze bottle on there, and before we open the bleed fitting, the squeeze bottle a number of times to get these air bubbles out of the tube. So then you put your wrench onto the bleed valve and you squeeze fluid in, count of 5, and then let them up for a count of 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. When I squeeze consistently on here for a while, I want to make sure that there's nothing coming out, no air coming out at the hose up above. You now tighten the bleed fitting, put this little rubber cover back on, and now retrieve the screw. Okay, so then I just put my bleed screw back in place. We put the pads back, and we put either a spacer in or a rotor to check and make sure that the brake is working. The Hayes pads have a little catch on the back. Okay, so the pads are in. Now you want to make sure that if you stick a spacer or a rotor in there that it's clean. And now we're going to pull the brake lever. As you can see, it's very tight. There's no play, and you can't pump the brake up. This brake is ready to ride.